Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be a simple run through of darkroom developing. This is going to be for black and white film, 35mm. A lot of you guys are going to be using that. It's not as hard as it looks. There are a couple of videos on YouTube, but this one I hope will make it kind of clear, obvious. I'm going to show you these rolls of film, some Ilford HB5 from step 1 to scanning, and hopefully you guys will be able to follow along and do it yourselves. Let's take a quick look at some accessories you might need in the darkroom. First of all, roll of exposed film. That one's fairly obvious. Any black and white film will do, but make sure it's not C41 black and white. Developing tank. This is a light safe container in which you can place your film, pour in chemicals. Generally makes the whole job easier than using the trays people traditionally used. This film spool just holds your 35mm film in place inside the tank and spaces it out. These mixing jugs are useful. They have measuring millimeter logos on the side and they allow you to accurately measure your chemicals. Here are your chemicals: film developer, stop bath and rapid fixer. Here I'm using FD10. There are different types. Whatever you use, make sure you check the developing times. Okay, here are some more accessories. We've got a funnel and a smaller measuring jug for more accurate measurements. A thermometer if you want to do temperature controlled developing. I don't personally, you can if you want. You're going to need some form of timer. This is, you can use an iPhone, you can use watch. iPhones are easier because you won't have to remember the amount of minutes, but if you have a digital watch with a timer, you won't have to use the phone. You're also going to need some scissors to cut the end off your spool, as well as this tool, which removes the cap from your film canister, allowing you to remove the film inside. Here is a portable dark bag. It's just a light safe bag with 2 armholes and a double zip. It allows you to load your film canister in darkness wherever you are and in whatever lighting conditions you're under. To get a complete set, you can buy these packages online. I'll put the link to this one in the description. They're not too expensive and contain almost everything you'll need. Before you attempt to load your film, you want to make sure that you have all of the bits of kit you're going to use in that process available to hand. You're not going to be able to see what you're doing, so you want to make sure that your spool, development tank, scissors, film canister and the small tool you use to remove the top from the film canister are all within reach. Take the small tool and remove the top from your film canister. Give it a good wrench. It's sometimes quite hard to get off, but once it does pop off, you'll be able to remove the inserted spool and you'll be holding the exposed roll. Bear in mind that because the film is contained quite tightly in the canisters, it will want to expand and unroll itself as soon as you remove it. Just keep that in check. You don't want it scratching itself on something or accumulating dust. What you're trying to do at this point is remove the plastic spool from the inside end of the roll. You're going to cut that off neatly with the scissors, and it is that end which you're going to roll onto your spool. This part is fairly tricky, and it's possible to sort of add creases to your film if you don't roll it on smoothly. Taking the square end, the end you cut to remove the plastic piece, what you want to do is pick up your spool and align it with the 2 flared edges in the center. About 4 centimeters past those, there are 2 ball bearings, and all you're trying to do is gently use those to rock the film back and forth, dragging it further onto the spool. Keep doing this motion, feeling in the dark whether the film is going onto the roll or refusing to bite. Once it starts, just keep slow, don't speed up because that will cause it to crinkle itself or kind of kick itself out of its runners. Let it do its thing. Once you've got the whole roll onto the spool and you can feel it on the spool, you're ready to place it into your developing tank. Unscrew the lid and place the spool onto the stem in the center of the developing tank. Push it all the way to the bottom and reseal the lid. Your film is now light safe. So obviously this roll I've just demonstrated with has been exposed to the light and destroyed. I have here a separate tank which I loaded in the dark. This is what I'm going to use from here on in, so you'll be able to see the results as they should happen. When mixing your chemicals, you don't have to be too precise, but you do have to ensure that the film spool inside the dev tank is completely covered with liquid. For the dev tanks I use, you can check the bottom of your dev tanks and that will show you the amount you need to completely cover the film, depending on the format. You can find dev times and chemical mixtures online. A good website for this is the Massive Dev Chart. That has every film under every possible permutation. I doubt you'll be left wanting. Once you've mixed your chemicals, add in the cold water. They're ready to go. It's good practice to leave them in order: dev, stop, and fix. Obviously, if you pour the chemicals in the wrong order, you're going to get nothing out of your negatives. Once you're all set up and ready to go, you're going to want to get your developer ready, start the timer, and pour it in. Replace the lid and agitate it for 30 seconds. The idea here is to agitate it for 30 seconds as soon as you pour the chemical in, and then every 30 seconds you want to give it a quick shake and a good tap to get the bubbles off. I'm using HP5, which requires 7 minutes of development in FD10 developer. Your film might vary, but make sure that you do this for the time specified. I'm going to be agitating every 30 seconds, giving it a quick inversion and a tap against the tray. At the end of 7 minutes, I'm going to pour out the developer and pour in the stop. Okay, 7 minutes is up, so I'm going to pour out the developer. That can go down the drain, and I'm going to pour in the stop. That's going to stop the process and freeze the film as it should be. I'm going to stop my timer and get ready to do the stop inversions. Stop goes in, lid goes back on. I'm going to do this for 1 minute and 30 seconds, inverting it gently but constantly throughout that time. Okay, so 90 seconds is up. There's only one more chemical to use, and that's Fixer. You can remove the lid, pour your stop down the drain, and get ready for 3 minutes of fixing. Now, the fix requires 30 seconds of agitation immediately after being poured in, and then a few seconds of agitation every 30 seconds for 3 minutes. After that, your negatives are going to be light safe, and all that will remain to be done is a quick wash before removing them and hanging them up to dry. Okay, now that you've completely developed your film, you just want to give it a quick rinse with normal tap water. This is just to remove all chemical residues from the film so that it dries nice and even and doesn't give you any problems when it comes to scanning it. After that final wash, your film is completely ready to be removed from its canister. This is the best bit if it's the first time you're doing it. You remove the spool by gently rotating it against itself and removing the top. Now, you can pick up the negative by the trailing end and lift that clean off. You don't want to scratch it against anything or give it any crinkles. You hold that up and you'll be able to see the negative images, the amount depending on how many you have on your roll. It's going to be quite wet. You are going to have to make this dry for maybe 24 hours before you're able to scan it. Some people, and I think photojournalists used to do this in the past, they used to dip it in rubbing alcohol, then remove it quickly so that it dried and evaporated rapidly. Generally, it's easiest if you just hang it up to dry in a sort of darkroom setting, or just a sort of warm area of your house with minimal dust. All you're doing is drying your film, and then it's scannable. You see here I've got this squeegee thing which can grip the film and remove surface water off it. Even with that, it's going to be damp. It's going to have to dry up for another several hours. Obviously, all scanners are different. The general idea is to keep your film free of dust and free of water residue. If you can do that, you're going to get usable scans. Okay, that concludes my video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I've been of some assistance, and I hope that your darkroom experiences go well. Thanks for watching.